Welcome to History in Photos. Each historical photo you're about to see will surprise you even more and change the way you look at history. So make sure to watch until the end, give the video a like, and subscribe to my channel. In this 1948 photo, a group of ballerinas nervously waiting to take the stage are caught sneaking a peek into the men's dressing room. This innocent moment might just whisper the repressed sense of freedom in post-war Paris. But the real surprise is waiting in the next photo. In 1915, German prisoners of war were forced to dig graves for fallen French soldiers. This scene wasn't just a burial, it became one of those haunting moments when human dignity itself was laid to rest. But this image is only the beginning. The next photo reveals an even stranger side of the war. The only person who witnessed that exact moment was the soldier who took this photo. Between 1967 and 1970, during the War of Attrition, an Egyptian Il-28 bomber was captured mid-attack on Israeli positions in the Sinai. This image freezes a split second torn straight from the heart of war, where death was just a breath away. The people in this unusual photo are testing some of the most innovative hair dryers of their time. Back then, these strange-looking devices gave off a sci-fi vibe and were the crown jewels of beauty salons. But the next photo features an invention that's even more fascinating. Thought Tesla did it first? This electric car was from 1898. The electric vehicle in this photo belonged to Grand Duke Alexei Romanov of Russia. Long before Tesla was even a name, aristocrats were gliding silently through the streets in electric cars. In 1928, in the village of Port Isaac, England, this massive boat was pulled through narrow streets by hand. No cranes, no GPS, just ropes, raw determination, and an unshakable drive to reach the sea. But this photo is just the beginning. The next image reveals something even more astonishing out at sea. In 1982, Greenpeace fought massive ships with tiny boats to stop the dumping of radioactive waste into the sea. Each barrel carried death. And where they said no, the world stayed a little cleaner. But the most shocking part? When these images were shared globally, almost no one seemed to care. Built in 1945 to protect England's shores, the Maunsell army forts were the final line of defense against Nazi aircraft. Rising from the mouth of the Thames, these metal towers stood watch over the sea, guarding the skies from above. Once filled with war machines, they now drift through time, silent, abandoned ghosts in the middle of the ocean. A woman dancing with death on ice, yet never letting go of her grace. The year is 1900. On the steep slopes of the Alps, she moves forward on a narrow wooden ski, defying every rule of the Victorian era. Climbing a mountain in a skirt and corset. Back then, courage wasn't just a man's game, and this photo proves it. In this late 19th century photo, Turkmen women appear in their vibrant holiday attire. The ornate crowns on their heads and the layered metal adornments draped like necklaces weren't just decorative. They were also believed to hold protective powers, serving as charms against misfortune. This armored prototype from the early days of the tank industry looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Heavy, clunky, and nearly unusable, these machines were still the ancestors of today's modern war vehicles. What may seem laughable now was once considered revolutionary. The Koyari people of Papua New Guinea built their homes high atop trees, over 10 meters off the ground. This way of life, designed to protect against predators, demanded incredible balance and engineering skill. Just imagine having to climb up to your house every single day, and knowing one wrong step could be your last. This experimental cinema concept from 1967 hid viewers behind a screen with only their heads visible. The goal? to literally place the audience inside the film. Cinema history has seen a lot, but nothing quite as bizarre as this. They were arrested for just a few inches of fabric. In 1922, Boston, women wearing improper swimwear on the beach were literally carried away by police and taken to the station. A scene we might laugh at today was once considered a serious offense against public morality. Before the 1944 Marshall Islands campaign, the U.S. Pacific Fleet lined up like an endless wall of steel. This massive show of force was the prelude to one of the largest offensives of the Pacific War. Not everything that looks real is real. Between 1914 and 1917 on the Russian-Turkish front, decoy artillery like this was used to fool the enemy. What seemed like a distant threat was, in reality, nothing more than cleverly crafted wood. In 1936, the Mercury train stunned onlookers as it passed through downtown Syracuse, New York. Its sleek, futuristic design was so ahead of its time, it proved one thing: technology was moving faster than anyone's imagination. In 1915, Venice, Italian soldiers stood ready on this wooden platform, equipped with rocket launchers to fend off enemy aircraft. It was one of the earliest moments when modern warfare began to reach into the skies. In 1913 New York, this construction worker sat on a steel beam 57 stories high, without a single piece of safety gear. Back then, fear of heights wasn't a luxury. It was a death sentence. This 1950s photo from Serebryanny Bor Beach in the Soviet Union reflects a quiet search for peace after the Stalin era. Women sunbathe and read in the soft light, capturing a generation's silent dream of freedom. In this 1950s photo from Yugoslavia, the legendary T-34-85 tank appears with an unusual weapon, a propane cannon. It wasn't built to burn enemies, but to blind and disorient them, turning confusion into a tactical advantage. At just 53 centimeters tall and weighing only 17 kilograms, 19-year-old Czech performer Baron Richard Novak delivered a live trumpet performance from inside a tuba in 1940. For the audience, it wasn't just music. It was an unforgettable illusion that blurred the line between spectacle and magic. Before landing in Gallipoli in 1915, the French Army's wine cellar looked like this, barrels laid out among hundreds of tents. Wine wasn't just for morale, it was seen as a strategic supply. Because for the French soldier, the greatest motivation was, as always, a glass of wine. In 1914, this machine gun crew pedaled their way to the front lines, hauling a deadly weapon behind them. With cars still a rarity, bicycles became the unsung heroes of wartime logistics. That humble two-wheeled trailer, it wasn't carrying supplies, it was carrying firepower. A uniformed cat perched on a Tiger tank during World War II, both hilarious and unbelievable. Whether this photo is real or a staged joke is still debated, but one thing's for sure, even in the heart of war, a cat can make everyone forget the seriousness of it all. Imagine a writer who made his mark not just with words, but with sheer courage. Ernest Hemingway stood on the front lines during the Spanish Civil War. In this photo, gripping his rifle, his resolve rivals the toughness of the lines he wrote. No tie, no trousers, yet duty marches on. These British police officers from the 1960s patrolled the beach wearing only their jackets, offering a glimpse into the era's odd mix of strict rules and light-hearted moments. Seriousness and humor. Can they coexist? This photo proves they absolutely can. In 1965, in the middle of the Nevada desert, 3 women in swimsuits try their luck, right from the pool at the Sands Hotel. Slot machines in hand, a waiter floating behind them. It's vacation and gambling captured in a single wild moment. Can today's luxury resorts top this kind of madness? Doubt it. This brave diver takes a step into the deep, clad in a heavy metal suit. In that moment, he's not just entering water, he's descending into a world where breath, sight, and sound are barely possible. In the early 20th century, reaching the ocean floor was almost like going to the moon. Would you ever dare to dive into that kind of darkness alone?